Description of the third, fourth, and fifth dimensions by J. O'Brien, July 2000, from O'Brien's Extraterrestrials website, recovered through Wayback Machine website, Spanish version. The third dimension, physical reality of the conscious being. The third dimension is where energy congeals into a dark, dense pool of matter. This is the plane of thought or mind. The densest stratum of this plane contains our own more worldly and material thoughts. Because of our planetary coding consciousness, we are able to identify with matter and therefore become dense ourselves. The universe allows the illusion of free will on the third and fourth dimensions, which gives us the experience of acting like saints or demons or somewhere in between by choice. Beings believing that the third is the only dimension suffer from the illusion of separation from their spirit. The physical senses cannot detect spirit, which is beyond form. If we are not one with spirit, then we cannot be at one with others. This dimension of thought has the ability to interpenetrate all of life, like a sort of etheric river of water. It is not confined to the brain, which actually acts more like a kind of telephone switching station to all the thoughts that pass through it. Our ability to experience beauty while in such density shows that we live in a loving universe. That is why if we can contact the higher strata of the mind world by training the corresponding parts of our brain, as all seekers have attempted to do, we shall gain inconceivable knowledge. The practice of remote viewing attempts to tap into this holographic practice. Humans possess a body made up of the material of the physical plane world, a body containing chemicals in liquid, solid and gaseous states. This body is interpenetrated by another body, which is its counterpart, known as the etheric body. It constitutes a fine web through which the electromagnetic life forces are fed into the physical body from the outer universe. The combination of these two bodies contain the conscious knowledge of all 12 dimensions. The sacred hologram, the material world, the third dimension. The material world is the dominant mode in which humanity and other species live and operate. The motivating or driving forces in this world are called instincts. Most beings on the planet today base their actions predominantly on information they receive from their survival, sexual, hierarchical, and territorial instincts. Acting on these instructions makes statements to the universe about what is real to the actor for the most part. These pictures of reality stem from information that is encoded in the DNA of the physical body. These physical body pictures of reality may imply, I am mortally need a madly need personal power to rule a thirsty need to own certain things. I need another person to make me happy. I need control of my space. The mental body, 2, generates pictures of reality. It creates pictures that say things like I must figure it all out. I need to be right. It's okay to lie. If I have a good enough reason, I am better than they are. She's going to say this, and then I'll say that. For various reasons, Western civilization has elevated the mental body to a male godlike status. There are several methodologies which contend that by controlling the mental body, negative experiences can be transcended, and that we can even obtain enlightenment and nirvana. The rationale goes, I create my own reality with my thoughts. Therefore, if I eliminate negative thoughts and only think positive ones, then my life will change for the better. This implies that negative thoughts are the source of one's negative experiences, and the work then becomes to eradicate them. You become your own thought police, and since whatever you're fascinated with, you get more of, then being fascinated with negative thoughts just brings more of them. Plus, there is another aspect to consider. The universe rearranges itself to accommodate your picture of reality. The think only positive thoughts strategy assumes that the mental body is the sole composer of one's picture of reality. But it is not. The physical body has its own views and convictions of what is real, as does the emotional body as well as the spiritual body. The I am here is a simple story to illustrate this. There was a mighty lion, Janro, who was born in a small zoo. As she grew, she made it a point to investigate, as best as she could, all of the aspects of the world around her. All of the other lions in this zoo had been born in captivity, as well. Their cages were indoors. One day, another lion was added to the group, but she was captured in the wild. When she spoke of the vast savannas, the tall, spreading trees, the birds in the sky, and the other wonders she knew of, Janro and the others scoffed. How could this be? They would exclaim, we've had plenty of time to investigate this world. We know precisely the limits of our cages, what other kinds of animals there are, where we came from, and how we get fed. What you are telling us is preposterous. Prove it. Beings who are exploring the material world and taking a stand for its validity suffer from the illusion of separation from their spirit. This should be obvious. The physical senses cannot detect spirit, which is beyond form. Consequently, if we are not at one with our spirit, then we cannot be at one with others. Because oneness is an attribute of the spiritual body, they believe they must fight and struggle to exist. courtesy of the animal instincts. They perceive enemies. Their actions are a series of strategies being played out. They fear lack and condemnation, both which lurk in the background of their consciousness like hungry cheetahs. They need outside authorities to tell them how to reach Goddess and to tell them what is real today. Scientists are the priests of what's real. When we find ourselves acting out and identifying with any of these pictures of reality and agreeing that they are real, you may say with confidence, I am living in a material world. Other experiences of this domain are being caught up in a stream of thought, planning sexual strategies, mentally rehearsing what you're going to say when you confront someone, which you never end up saying. Anyway, when the time comes, being sarcastic, being obnoxious, being critical, physically or verbally attacking someone, proving you're right, or the other wrong, defending or claiming your space. The way that we perceive and define ourselves implies which world we are living in. A few identities that take a stand for the validity of the material world are, I am a hard worker, smart person, honest person, business person, or name a profession, parent, spouse, child, awesome, inadequate, lover, responsible person, funny person, student, teacher, clever, shrewd. There is nothing wrong with these identities or with exploring the material world. We all do it to some degree or another. Let's face it, we're all in human forms. It's an option that our spirits have chosen to explore. For whatever reason, the important point is not what we are exploring, but the position that our consciousness is in with relation to the action. The fourth dimension, the truth. The astral plane. The fourth dimension is a gray, polarized plane, housing the forces of light and darkness. The battle between good and evil starts here. Forms naturally morph on the astral plane. A tree can easily transform into a wolf. This is because the illusion of good and evil is manifest here, and because of the extreme mutability of form, distrust and fear that exist. Emotion. This plane is that of will or life spirit, and it is of this dimension that the individual self, the ego, is a part. It is the ego who uses the physical, astral and mind bodies as tools with which to achieve its purpose. When mind, body and spirit are completely aligned with divine will and in harmony and balance, one with another, you are omnipotent and have achieved conquest over matter. After careful training, it is possible to leave the physical body safely in the nourishing care of its etheric web, to go on a dimensional journey. This is called astral travel. When you wish to return, you slip back into the restricting burden of your outer coating of flesh. Shamans are adepts in this arena, many times bringing back information to benefit humankind, unless the person has been specially trained and practiced. The jar of contact once again with the dense earth vibrations are so harsh that it usually snaps the thread of memory of the journey. Magic, time travel, karma, reincarnation, luck, psychic surgery, flying, mind reading, disembodied spirits, enchantment, and of course, astral travel, all source from this plane. The demigoddesses of many religions live here. Hell and purgatory are fourth-dimensional locales as well. By embodying the principles of this plane, we enhance the probability of living a magical life. The magical world, the fourth dimension. The magical world is the next step up. Dimensionally speaking, from the material world. When you are living in a magical world, you are taking a stand for the realities and parameters of the fourth dimension. The link between the third dimensional physical body and the fourth dimension is the emotional body. The emotional body studies the astral plane, and the mental body does its best to interpret the information that it receives within the limitations of its linear-based functioning ability. What follows are some principles, pictures of reality and implications that are innate in the fourth dimension. For instance, let's say we're standing in line at the grocery store and you begin to make psychic contact with others. You now can say, I am living in a magical world. When you find yourself engaged in any of the following activities, you can say the same: trying to use or get luck, being superstitious, having a sexual fantasy, psychically attacking someone psychically, defending someone, fighting for God, the light, or any other good cause or bad cause. If that's your style, trying to psychically manipulate another being or situation, astral traveling, working out your karma, trying to be worthy in the eyes of Goddess, preaching the right way, to serve Goddess, spirit, or the mission, using magic, either white or black. Here are few identities which take a stand for the validity of the magical world. I am a magician, druid, witch, sorcerer, enchanter, psychic healer, past life regressionist, warrior of the light, devil, demon worshipper, religious person. The magical world compared to the material world is much more exciting. There are many unusual powers and phenomena to experience there. It has a unique and somewhat hypnotic allure. Many beings feel liberated as they move from the limitations of the material world into the expansiveness of the magical world. For others, however, this world of shifting forms, gray alliances, and non-linear logic is scary. Additionally, The rules of the material world don't mean much in the magical world for those who need to be in control and know how it really is in a third-dimensional sense. This metamorphic reality with its uncharted territories including purgatories and hells are better left alone. We are at a time in human history in which the veils are rapidly being lifted between the two worlds. This is frightening to those who want the material world to be the safe, predictable place it has always or seemed to have been. As the magical world becomes increasingly accessible, the material world becomes more destabilized. This is becoming increasingly apparent in the area of relationships. In many, but not all, cases, the scenario goes something like this. One of the partners begins to explore and experience the validity of the magical world. The material world-based partner is either unable or unwilling to explore the magical probability. He uses scientific, common sense logic to explain why the magical world doesn't exist, or just sarcastically dismisses the partner's interest. Or, a more clever response is this: he plays along with the magically inclined partner's flights of fantasy and imagination. A wiser yet alternative: he supports the magically inclined partner's exploration, but neither common sense logic, the common logic of only 5 senses, nor sarcasm can negate another person's experiences. As the lure and exploration of the magical world increases, there becomes less and less for the couple to talk about, and when it comes time for parting, the defender of the logical world finds himself alone with his cold facts, wondering what went wrong. Another outcome of this scenario is that the magically inclined partner halts or slows her progress so as not to hurt the partner, hoping that she can bring him along. It may be helpful to realize that all relationships are in the hands of Spirit. Spirit puts us together and separates us in accordance with the divine plan. This may sound harsh to the emotional body, but when grasped from a cosmic perspective, it is really a blessing. Relationships based upon the parameters of the magical world can be enchanting. All sorts of magical events may transpire. The partner's face can morph from their usual appearance and look like that of a completely different person. Astral sex is out of this world. Plus, there are opportunities to play out unfulfilled material and magical roles with each other, sometimes reaching into past lives. At this point in history, the next natural step for many beings is to move from the exploration of the material world to the exploration of the magical world. This requires letting go of rigid concepts which the linear mind holds as real. For those who have identified themselves with their mental and physical bodies, this, perhaps, is one of the biggest stumbling blocks to exploring the interesting realm of the magical world. The fifth dimension, the miraculous world. The fifth dimension, heaven, the plane of light for most religions. The fifth dimension is the highest realms a soul can reach spiritually. Starting from the beginning, it is the last stop downward on the dimensional ladder before we enter the realms of limitation. We incarnate here as androgynous stellar beings. Since we live on stars, we have luminous light bodies. These eternal forms have no need for pain, the warning signals that physical bodies provide. Therefore, there is no physical suffering. Neither do we suffer from any form of separation because we constantly experience the oneness of Mother, Father, Creator. We base our actions entirely on love. Never fear. This is because fear does not exist at this level. We are unstoppable and living miraculous lives. Immortality is an experiential given. Many times in a near-death experience, a person will travel through a long tunnel. The tunnel traverses the darkness, the fourth dimension, and ends in a bright opening of golden or white light, the fifth dimension. This is the birth canal of the soul and the doorway to heaven. We travel by application of divine will. We need not die to have this experience. The shortest distance between 2 points is not a straight line or curved line. In the fifth dimension, one simply duplicates herself to her destination. We travel by moving through the doorway at the center of the star. We do not fly, as this movement is similar to teleportation. Flying is only a viable means of transportation on the third and fourth dimensions. In many ascension stories, the Earth transforms, along with her inhabitants, into her fifth-dimensional light body. This is when Gaia physically shifts from a dense, material body to one of light, a star. The present Earth changes, and ancient prophecies are guides to this probable future. However, the fifth-dimensional manifestation of a star is neither hot nor fiery. It is soft. This is known as the miraculous world. The miraculous world, the fifth dimension, the miraculous world dimensionally. It is the next step up from the magical world. The probabilities of this fifth plane are just now presenting themselves to humanity. Go outside on some clear night, look up in the sky and catch a glimpse of the stars. There are more stars than we can imagine, with even more planets racing around them, and this is only the third dimensional aspect that we are seeing. Look at your hand. Move your fingers to make all of this exist and work takes forces and a form of intelligence that is not possible to imagine, and this is only the third dimensional aspect of our existence. Although this may sound oversimplified, it does seem to point to one thing: the universe is a miraculous place. If it can create all of this, it can do just about anything it wants in the miraculous world. Linear or horizontal logic, which uses past experience and one's beliefs to determine what is real, is not what directs one's actions, nor is it one's feelings, regardless of how powerful they are. Instead, vertical logic, which is information received directly from one spirit, provides the data from which to act. This is spontaneous revelation and is the key to consciously living in the eternal now. You are, in essence, channeling your spirit. When we find ourselves acting out and identifying with the following, you can say, I am living in a miraculous world. You experience the awesome reality of living in the faith that you are in the hands of your spirit. You perceive everything is okay, even if it's sometimes unpleasant, because you know that spirit is directing your course. You see your identity as a divine being unfold. Your reliance on material and magical perceptions is superseded by your reliance on miraculous perceptions. You perceive others' pictures of reality as just that, their pictures, and do not take their projections personally. You realize that, in many areas of your life and especially your mission, the walls of time-space are not a limitation. You live with the understanding that by remaining open and empty, the universe can manifest miracles through you. You love everyone and know that they are part of the divine whole. You are grateful to be alive. You see your vision of heaven on earth manifesting. You share your vision, cosmic identity, and insights freely and naturally. Miracles are given. Here are few identities or ways to function which take a stand for the validity of the miraculous world. EMA: angelic, extraterrestrial, other dimensional, adept, divine, cosmic, holy being, code master, grid template, expert, energy flow director, receiver, transmitter for your off-planet, other dimensional, teen, trans-dimensional, trailblazer, divine, fool. Moving from the magical world to the miraculous world is similar to moving from the material to the magical. There is a barrier that separates these worlds. The fear of the unknown, inherent in the human form and reinforced by the dark forces, makes beings hesitate to explore new worlds. On the other hand, many beings don't explore other worlds because they are just plain ignorant of their existence. Spirit has dictated that the veils in their consciousness remain in place. They can do no more. It is interesting to note that in the miraculous world, the mental, emotional, and physical bodies are used by the universe to achieve its ends. In the material world, the universe is used by these bodies to achieve their ends. The world in which we perceive ourselves, along with our identity, are major components of our picture of reality, and the universe rearranges itself to accommodate our picture of reality. If we're using material world criteria for the basis of our discernment, it will look as if everyone is living in the material world. If we use the magical world as our criteria, it will appear as if everyone is living in either the material world or the magical world, or probably some combination of the two. If we use the criteria of the miraculous world, it will appear as if everyone is living in the material, magical, or miraculous world, or probably some combination of the three. This is because beings who are intensely exploring the material world cannot include the magical world in their picture of reality yet. Those who are exploring the magical can include the material. Similarly, those who are intensely exploring the magical world cannot include the miraculous world in their picture of reality yet. Those who are exploring the miraculous can include the magical. This suggests a hierarchical order based on our ability to accept ever-expanding probabilities and our capacity to love. There are many versions of the ascension scenario. It is our sense that the planetary consciousness, and many other cosmic forces, is preparing a new, energetic environment for its inhabitants to live in. The foundations are already being laid. Its frequency will sustain only miraculous world experiences once fully in place and operational. The option of exploring the material and magical worlds will no longer be available, at least on this planetary body. Living in the miraculous world will no longer be debated as to whether it is possible or impossible. It will just be the way that it is. Seek and ye shall find. In the material world, one seeks retirement and grows old. In the magical world, one seeks enlightenment and grows wiser. In the miraculous world, one seeks nothing and grows lighter. As we all tread the homeward path, we will explore many realms, and one day, we will all realize that all experiences are simply different ways in which the all that is perceives itself, and